And we're glad to be joined by Lawrence Sprung, the founder of Midland Financial now. We're going to talk a little bit about unwise spending, Lawrence, and it's great to have you here with us as always. There's this phenomena called keeping up with the Joneses, which is the pressure of keeping up socially when spending money. But we're not talking about that. We're actually talking about another form of unwise spending, something that you've observed with your clients that's called upgrade culture. So what is upgrade culture?
So I think upgrade culture is just this constant feeling that we have to upgrade things. And, marketing is great. It works really, really well, right? New iPhone comes out. You need to get the new iPhone. You may have a perfectly good one that's only a year or two old, but they get you feeling like you're going to be missing out because you don't have the newest and greatest. And that happens in a lot of cases with those things, as well as much larger things like car purchases, right? You just paid off the car. It's a couple of years old, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old, and then the newer model comes out, and you're like, oh, wow, I really want that. And that's really where we get into this cycle that can be really problematic to your financial future.
I really actually haven't heard of this term before. Is it the same as lifestyle creep?
It is very similar to lifestyle creep. I think we have a tendency, right, as our incomes grow, to fill that income growth with other spending. And that's why we really have to do our best to automate things as much as possible. Meaning, if we automate our retirement plan contributions and have them automatically increasing over time, as we get those increases in wages, rather than having that money go to lifestyle creep, the new phone, the new car, we have it going towards our financial future, which could be helpful rather than having all that money just spent in areas that may or may not serve us well.
Now, clearly you're not saying it's wrong to enjoy technology or nice things, but you're actually describing that some bad decisions almost come out of like a compulsion or a reflex?
Yeah, I think we have a tendency to just, want, and we don't necessarily take the time to actually think about the purchase. And I think if we did do that, sometimes think about it, you make that purchase, right? And then a week later, or 2 weeks later, you get the credit card bill and you're like, oh man, why did I do that? I didn't really need the new phone. And you have that buyer's remorse, right? So what I'm saying is, listen, there are definitely times that you need that new phone, you need that new car. You may have gotten a huge enough bonus that you want to enjoy some of that, and that is perfectly fine. All we're saying is take a moment, think about it before you pull the trigger on that purchase, because maybe in that moment you feel like you need it, but after you think about it, maybe there's better ideas that you can use that money for.
I mean, it almost sounds like an issue that's brought about by design. It sounds like a marketer's dream to have 100%. You making those decisions almost automatically.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it, right? Like we go back to that car, right? You get that car paid off, you're done with it. What's wrong with a paid off car that's working well? Do you really need a new one? Probably not. You'd be better off taking that monthly payment. And listen, whether it's putting money away for retirement for that purpose, or using that money for some other enjoyment, maybe using it to save for a family bucket list trip that you've never taken, you can reallocate those monies in other places.
Now, Steph kind of mentioned it's almost in the design, like the house always wins when you go to a casino. So can you give us some real actionable and easy to implement tips to consciously try to break this cycle?
I think the biggest one's one we talked about already, because we're getting inundated. I don't even remember how many advertisements we're seeing during the course of a day, but it's like thousands, consciously and unconsciously, right? We're getting inundated. So just taking that moment to think about that purchase is probably the easiest. In that moment, rather than making the purchase, maybe take 24 hours and say, hey, do I really still need this? Another thing is having a budget is so powerful, because you can look at that budget and say, hey, did I have or do I have room in my budget for this purchase? If you don't, then the answer should be no. Let's figure out a way to create some means to budget for that purchase, and maybe you delay that gratification for 3 or 6 months if that's something you seriously need, but it also gives you the time to think about it. So it's just getting out of that moment, thinking about it, and being really more mindful about it.
Although it does seem like this kind of lifestyle creep could apply more to smaller purchases, like a phone, okay, we've talked about cars, but when it comes to upgrading your house, your home, or something like that, you have advice there? I mean, people obviously do want to upgrade if they can.
Yeah, I mean, homes are a big issue, and I could share with you a story that we had with a family we serve. Daughter wanted to buy a new house in a new neighborhood that she could not afford on her own. Mom called us up, asked us if she could give her money for this purchase of the home. And I said to the mom, I said, listen, you can do whatever you want, it's your hard-earned money. But have you thought about what the ramifications are by helping your daughter and son-in-law moving into a neighborhood that they can't otherwise afford? You might be putting them in a bad spot. And she was like, what are you talking about? I said, well, forget about the house. You helped them get in there. Now, what are they going to do when their cars are not at the same level as other cars in the neighborhood, keeping up with the Joneses? So by giving them that $50,000 or $75,000 to get into that house that they want to be in, are we really doing the right thing by them in terms of those other things that they're not thinking about? Because upgrading the house, that's one thing, but now you have to think about, well, your probably taxes are higher. Insurance is higher, utilities is higher, the upkeep is higher. So you have to think about those other ramifications than just buying the house in itself.
So much good advice to think about. It's not just the first order thing. Sometimes it's what happens second, third, and fourth. And just a moment of pause, maybe speaking with a trusted advisor can really help you make good decisions. Always appreciate your advice. Lawrence Sprung, Midland Financial. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.